Usage of the phrase make one's eyes bleed. I googled the phrase make one's eyes bleed. It seems to me that this is a sort of idiom. I am not quite sure in which situations you say this. Is this expression often used in English, or it is rather rare? I also found the expression bleed from the eyes in the Urban Dictionary. Bleed from the eyes is used when one really doesn't want to even consider doing something, as it may cause them brain trauma. Can also be described as being more appealing than the activity they are trying to get out of. As it seems to me, this definition contains two opposite meanings. On the one hand, it is used when someone considers something annoying, dull, or tedious, or even ugly. On the other hand, it can be used to describe something pleasant, attractive as compared to other things. Am I right? In my opinion, this definition is ambiguous in this dictionary. Is it possible to express the opinion on some aspects of linear algebra using this expression? Matrix operations are so boring that my eyes begin bleeding every time I deal with these things. Or, I find matrices unbearable, they make my eyes bleed.
Both your example sentences are perfectly fine and exactly how people use the expression. The Urban Dictionary definition is badly worded. If you're just getting started with using Urban Dictionary, get used to this. Most entries on there are horribly worded. What it means is that you can also say something like, do matrix operations? Gah, I'd rather bleed from the eyes. This emphasizes that even bleeding from the eyes is more appealing than doing matrix operations.
I wonder where the Urban Dictionary gets some of these definitions. I think they should hang out with some people who are over 25 once in a while. Logically, bleed from the eyes is about seeing something unpleasant. My grandmother showed up in a bikini and I started to bleed from the eyes. The most common phrase, us, for not wanting to do something is still the tried and true, I'd rather have a root canal. Go to prom with Mildred Gogeldorf. I'd rather have root canal. The only time a task would cause bleeding from the eyes is if it was long and or arduous and involved strain on the eyes. I tried to proofread that idiot's report, but I had to stop because my eyes were bleeding. The staff sergeant made us do push-ups until our eyes were bleeding. The only other bleeding eye usage I'm familiar with is when you want to inform someone that it is perfectly obvious that they were smoking marijuana before the big meeting, but you don't necessarily want to inform everyone else there. In which case you would stare into the person's face and say, close your eyes before you bleed to death. A reference to their characteristically bloodshot eyes.
I sometimes say, do I have to be bleeding from the eyeballs to get you to, for example, take out the trash? Well, I had eye surgery, and am actually bleeding from my eye. So the myth is busted. Bleeding from your eyes does not cause someone to do something they don't want to do. And it hurts. A lot.
If you want to support the channel, please consider liking and subscribing.